Well, yeah, thank you very much for your kind introductions, and Bill Emot-san. And I am, as introduced, Yorihiko Kojima of Mitsubishi Corporation. I'm very much honored to participate in this very important conference. There are 3 points today that I would like to talk about. The first point is the importance of free trade and the advent of an era of mega FTAs. The second point is expectations for the nations of the Pacific Alliance. The third point is relations between the Pacific Alliance and Japan. Okay, I'll talk about the first point, the importance of free trade and mega FTAs. The world economy is growing through the advance of globalization. This can be seen in the expansion of the trade, the building of supply chains, increased investment, improvement of infrastructure, simplification of customs and tax procedure, and greater labor mobility. On the other hand, with the rise of emerging nations, the international trade structure is beginning to face difficulties. The decline in the governing and administrative function of the World Trade Organization, WTO, is one such example. The WTO's conflict resolution function is still very important, but the Doha development round negotiations have effectively been halted, and instead many bilateral and regional agreements have been initiated. Well, recent trend is the increasing presence of so-called mega FTAs, such as the Trans-Profit Partnership, TPP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, regional and Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, TTIP. Once all these mega FTA are in place, there will be a greater degree of free trade in the world, which will greatly enhance economic growth. The Abe government in Japan, which took office in December 2012, has also actively pursued EPAs and FTAs as part of its growth strategy. In July 2013, Japan joined the TPP negotiations. In addition to the TPP, Japan began negotiating in earnest on the Japan-China-South Korea FTA, the Japan-EU EPA, and the RCEP in the same year, including the TPP. The 4 mega FTAs combined will cover about 80% of world GDP. As an important player in negotiations on inter-regional mega FTAs, the TPP, the Japan-EU EPA, and the RCEP, Japan hopes to actively contribute to the development of the world's largest economic zone. Okay, now the second point, expectation for the Pacific Alliance. The Pacific Alliance is an emerging economic zone with a market of 200 million people and a rapidly growing middle class. The combined GDP of the 4 Pacific Alliance nations is about $2 trillion, roughly the size of the Italian economy, and representing about 38% of the economic activity for Latin America. Because of its proximity to the North American and Asian markets, foreign corporations see it as an opportunity to build a production and supply chain basis aimed at expanding business in Asia and North America. Latin America countries can also benefit from the Asian markets which serve as an engine of economic growth. I do expect more trade and investment from both sides of the Pacific. Before coming to Cartagena, I informed Prime Minister Abe that I would be attending this conference. Prime Minister Abe attended the last year's IISS Shangri-La Dialogue in Singapore and gave a keynote address about the importance of peace and prosperity in the Asia-Pacific region. I believe that this Cartagena dialogue, encouraging stronger cooperation between Asia and Latin America, aligns with the Prime Minister Abe's aim for the Asia-Pacific region. And before I came over here, I had a meeting with Prime Minister Abe, and he encouraged me to discuss very positively with the members here and to that Cartagena dialogue, and to encourage the people in Asian Pacific and Latin America people work closely together. That was his message I received. Well, as you may know, last December, Prime Minister Abe resolved the Diet and succeeded to reform the cabinet, and now he will be staying on his position in the Prime Minister for another 4 years. Therefore, he is very much confident for the Japanese economy. Now, last week, I also had a chance to meet with the Japanese ambassadors to Latin America in Keidanren meeting, who were visiting Tokyo, and I'm chairman of Japan Latin American committee in Keidanren. That's the reason why I chaired that meeting. On that occasion, we affirmed the importance of the Asia and Latin America partnership. Japanese companies are also paying attention to the Pacific Alliance. In 2010, 609 Japanese companies had begun operations in the 4 nations of the Pacific Alliance. In 2013, that number had increased up to 874, more than 30% up. And in 2013, Japan External Trade Organization, or JETRO, survey about 70% of Japanese companies in Central and South America said that they plan to expand the business there, Latin America, and over the next 2 years. They are very much confident to increase the business level. Well, incidentally, Latin America is a key region for the Mitsubishi Corporation, and in addition to the resource business, and we have recently been expanding business, targeting consumer markets or even retail business. At the same time, there are obstacles to Japanese companies entering Central and South America. In the same JETRO survey, more than 70% of Japanese companies doing business in Central and South America said that they had concern about rising wages, public safety, and underdeveloped logistics infrastructure. I also hope that these challenges will be overcome through the development of EPAs and FTAs and further public-private sector cooperation. Okay, now the third point, relations between the Pacific Alliance and Japan. As for trade, Japan already has bilateral EPAs with Chile, Peru, and Mexico, while no EPA with Colombia has been signed, and the Japanese Business Federation of Keidanren's Japan-Colombia Economic Committee that I chaired issues a joint statement on the importance of concluding an EPA in 2011. With a joint statement as a starting point, our two governments began EPA negotiations in 2012. Colombia has the second largest population in South America, and abundant resources and is expected to post stable growth. I do expect the conclusion of an EPA to bring great benefits to both Japan and Colombia. As chairman of the Japan-Colombia Economic Committee, I myself, I intend to continue lobbying the Japanese government to quickly conclude the Japan-Colombia EPA. Maybe with this regard, and Ambassador Suzuki-san has already explained to you in the second session, and I do hope this will be concluded very shortly. Finally, I would like to briefly touch on the strategies Japanese companies have used to enter and succeed in Latin America. Particularly investments in related local enterprise, mergers and acquisitions, and the utilizations of local business partners have been the key. Once established, Japanese companies are successfully expanding their business by developing and utilizing local human resources and working with the partner companies. My company entered the Latin America market during the 1950s. Together with our excellent local partners, we have expanded the business in both the resource and the non-resource sectors. Well, quite recently, we have developed the business together with the Colombian company and formed a joint venture in Malaysia. We are now developing some food materials to make the food materials and sell those materials and in Malaysia. This kind of business model will be developed very briefly, and this will be we are expanding more business, and together with the Latin America and say Asian Pacific countries. So as you can see, in order to build large-scale business that connects Asia and Latin America development of a free trade environment and the cooperation with the local governments and the good business partners very much essential. And in the meantime, as you may know, say Prime Minister Abe came to the Latin America last year, the July and August. Since I myself, the chairman of the Japan and the Latin America Economic Committee, I was requested to join his trip. And at that time, he also traveled the 5 Latin American countries with, say, so many people, including medium and small business companies. And one of those small and business middle companies has quite recently decided to open the company in Colombia. And this kind of things will be happening very shortly. And this is very good, and under such circumstances, I will continue to do my utmost effort to help Japanese companies build win-win partnership with the Pacific Alliance nations. I think this is a very, very important issue. Well, anyhow, thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.